What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And today is June 10th, 2025. And glad to have all you guys here today. This is going to be part 2 of disaster codes. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm going to explain to everyone. Going to kind of go over the base information. Thank you for the thumbs up, Coffee Girl. Much love to you. Hello, Betty. Betty says one of the videos I did led a young man to Christ. Amen. That's great. Glad to hear that. So hello to Betty. Hello to Coffee Girl. Hello to Maggie. So we're going to, again, I'm going to go over the base information. Again, this is part 2. So I haven't, if you guys haven't seen part 1, you might be a little bit confused. But I'm going to try to go over the key information to get you guys caught up. And then I'm going to share with you some crazy things I found that just happen to be connected to tomorrow, which is why I needed to get this video out today. Because, guys, when I started looking into this movie knowing, I was not looking for things connecting to June 11th tomorrow, okay? Of course, you guys know I've been talking about June 11th. I did those collabs with Garo. I didn't, he was the one talking about it first. And then I tried to go off on my own path and not talk about June 11th. But now, in this movie, the date is actually encoded in this movie, tomorrow's date. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it is, okay? And I'm going to show you again, I wasn't looking for this. I wasn't looking for this date in the movie, but it just came up, okay? And there's way more to this movie than just about tomorrow, but I'm going to catch you guys up get you guys caught up on what I talked about in the first part of this video, or the first part of the disaster codes. So where does this disaster codes come from? It comes from the movie Knowing, okay? And there's a list online that you can find. In the movie Knowing, he has to decode all these dates. So this girl in 1959, she gets all these dates. They're all disasters, and they're real disasters, okay? Like real life disasters, starting in 1959, going all the way to 2007, because the movie takes place in 2009, okay? And so here's all the dates. And again, guys, I'm not going to go over these dates here. I'm going to go over specific dates. This is going to take way too long if I go over all these dates. But in part 1, we covered the first 10 dates. And the first date on the list happened on December 2nd, 1959, okay? And this whole list ends when the movie ends, because the end of the world happens in the movie. And you can see here, the end of the world happens on October 19, 2009, when a solar flare kills everyone else. And the last numbers were scratched on the door. So when Lucinda, the little girl, gets the numbers in 1959, she doesn't complete the numbers on the paper. She has to scratch the numbers into a door. I don't know if you guys know this movie. I can't go over the whole summary of the movie, but the point of this is that the events listed here are all disasters, and most of them are real life disasters, except for the final 5 or 6 disasters are all fake, because the movie only used disasters that went to the year 2007, okay? And the movie took place in 2009. So that is the overview of what I'm getting these dates from, okay? And again, there's so many here. I can't go over all of them, but what I can do is I can talk about the main theme of these dates, okay? There's certain numbers, certain themes that continually come up in all of these disasters, okay? And we're going to start by kind of going over what I found in the first part 1. We're going to summarize that, and then we're going to go on to part 2 and talk about how it points to tomorrow, okay? So I don't know why I found everything pointing to tomorrow. Maybe because it was already in my head, and then when I started looking into Knowing, it just kind of came to me. It kind of baffles me, but we're just going to get into it, okay? So here's a picture of the movie where he's crossing off all the dates. Nicolas Cage, the actor who plays the guy in the movie, He's crossing off all these dates. He's figuring out all the dates on the paper, right? And he says, all these uncircled numbers, what do they mean? Okay. And so there's a lot of dates that didn't get put in the movie, but somebody went through and found out most of these dates, not all of them. So that's where we're getting the dates. Okay. And remember, in part one, we covered the first 10 dates on the list. Okay. So the first 10 dates on the list started in December 2nd, 1959, and ended on December 17, 1961. So that was what we talked about in part one, okay? We talked about how the movie, it equals Hail Satan and Matrix, and it's all a satanic code, okay? And the theme of this is very satanic, okay? Let's just put it that way. There's a very big satanic theme in this movie and the dates, okay? Remember, the girl who receives the dates is Lucinda, like Lucifer, Lucinda, right? Lucifer. And if you stylize the movie the way they write it, it equals Satan, it equals Matrix. And this is what we're decoding here is a matrix, okay? And remember, the first date on the list is 12-2, and that's satanic, okay? Satanic equals 122, okay? This is the first disaster on the list, okay? It was a dam collapse. And remember, the entirety of the dates from the first disaster to the end of the world in the movie covers a span of 49 years and 322 days. And that's when everyone dies, right? So Brotherhood of Death equals 322, right? And this whole disasters covers a span of 49 years, 322 days. How about that? And the whole movie is connected to Barack Obama. Now, why Barack Obama? Because he was the one who was president in 2009 when the movie was released. He became president 8 weeks and 4 days before the movie released. Obama's birthday is 8/4. Okay. Okay. So 8/4, Obama's birthday, Obama equals 84, 8 weeks and 4 days after he took office, you get the movie release. Okay. Not only that, his code name was Renegade. Renegade equals 59, a huge number in Black history, 59. And his code name equals 59. 59 days after he took office, the movie released. And remember, the codes that are written on this paper, the disaster codes, are received by Lucinda, the girl, in the year 59. Okay, so this movie encodes Barack Obama for a reason, because he was the one that was president during the movie's release. Okay. And again, his nickname, Renegade, equals 59. 59 days to the codes in the year 59, the girl, okay? She receives them in the year 59, right? So the first date on the list, it has the same numerology as Barack's birthday. The first date on the list is 12/2/1959. That equals 92 in numerology if you add them all up. Obama's birthday, 8/4/1961, equals 92, the same numerology, okay? And I talked about the 50. The 50 is all connected to the completion code. The United States has 50 states. The movie had a $50 million budget. The entirety of the movie had a $50 million budget. The first disaster on the list was a dam collapse, and the dam that collapsed had a 50 million cubic meters capacity. Okay, so again, 50 states, 50 million cubic meter capacity, 50 million budget, satanic equals 50. Obama became the president of the 50 states that year. The movie released. The movie spans us 50 years, right? Almost 50 years from the first disaster to the end of the world. Okay, so that's the 50, right? But remember, when the movie released, Barack Obama was 47 years, 229 days old. Barack Obama equals 229. 229 is the 50th prime. Nicolas Cage, the star of the movie, equals 229. Again, that's the 50th prime. The whole movie was about the number 50, okay? Between the first disaster in the movie to the second disaster is 50 days, okay? Barack Obama, from the first disaster to the day Barack Obama took office, was 49 years and 50 days. America equals 50. Barack Obama equals 229, the 50th prime. So you guys get the gist. Again, we covered this in part one, okay? I'm just going over how this connects to Barack Obama, okay? So Barack Obama equals 229. The third disaster on the list is on 229. From the first, okay, so this is important, guys. Do you see these 611s here? Do you see the 611s, okay? From the first disaster in the Knowing movie to the birth of Barack Obama, who I've clearly showed this movie is connected to, from the first disaster to the birth of Barack Obama, 611 days, okay? So that's important, guys. The first disaster to Barack's birth, 611 days, right? From the third date on 229, like Barack Obama equals 229, to the ninth date. And why am I talking about the 39? Well, 3 and 9 is the gematria of Knowing. The movie Knowing equals 39. But the reason these two dates are important is because this is the date that Barack Obama is connected to, the 229, right? And this is the Halloween. So the Halloween right after he was born was the next date, the disaster date on Halloween. Okay, there was a disaster. I don't remember what it was now. But anyway, from the third disaster to the ninth disaster, 611 days, just like it was 611 days from the first disaster to Obama's birth. Okay. And if you go from the third disaster to Obama's birth, it's 522 days, which is the date of the next disaster, the fourth disaster, which happened on 522. So hopefully you guys see the pattern here. There's patterns in these dates, and I'm revealing them to you, okay? But the 611 is important, okay? So from now on, guys, I want you to remember that the first disaster in the movie to the birth of a Barack Obama was 611 days, okay? And remember, I told you that the entirety of this, the entirety of the dates in this movie go 49 years and 322 days. 322 is the number of the Brotherhood of Death. Now, in gematria, let me just show this. In gematria, Brotherhood of Death equals 611, okay? 611 is the gematria of Brotherhood of Death. That's skull and bones, okay? So there's your 611. There's your 611. You know, skull and bones clearly tied to this movie as well. Barack Obama, born 611 days after the first event, okay? Now, again, this all connects to the current events because, well, first of all, look at this. Barack Obama, the third event, the third disaster was on 229. It happened in Agadir, Morocco, which equals 229, like Barack Obama, okay? And this was an earthquake, okay? But this ties to what's going on right now because there was a Ukrainian event. So the disaster that happened before his birth was in Ukraine. 145 people died that day, and there was 145 days till Barack's birth. So from the 145 people dying to the birth of Barack Obama, 145 days. I mean, what's the chance of that? It was in Ukrainian territory, which equals 145. Okay, now this connects us to our current events because we currently have Ukraine and Russia going at it, right? Well, okay, so this next slide, this is what's going to blow your mind, guys. Remember, I told you from the first event to Obama's birth, 611 days. So let's look at this. Hold your hats here, guys. Okay, so what you're seeing on my screen is absolutely ridiculous. All right, think about this. I showed the whole movie is connected to Barack Obama. Now, from the first disaster in the movie to his birth is 611 days. That's like 611, right? Like June 11th. From Barack Obama's birth to the last disaster or the end of the world in the movie is 17609 days. Guys, that's the 2025th prime number. Raise your hand in the chat if you guys are seeing what I'm showing here. Barack Obama is perfectly born in this movie between the dates, the first date and the last date, and the dates that are encoded are 6/11/2025. Do you guys see it? I just want you guys to, I want to get a reaction in the chat that you guys can see what I'm showing you here. What in the world is this? And again, I wasn't looking for this when I started decoding this movie. I wasn't trying to decode June 11th, guys. It just came like this. I wasn't looking for this. If that doesn't, okay, this is from the first disaster to the end of it's 6/11, and from Barack Obama to the end of the world, 2025 prime number days. Okay? And what I'm going to show you, this is just a small part of it still. Like, this is the biggest part of it, but it's only a small part of it that connects to this date. This movie seems to point to June 11th, 2025. I don't know why. I don't know why I found this. I don't know. I was not looking for this. I didn't want to find anything with June 11th. I wanted to leave June 11th behind. Okay. But then I look into these dates, and this is what I find: June 11th, 2025. What? So as I'm trying to run away from it, God puts it back in my face. I'm like, okay, God must want me to focus on this then. Because why was this even on my heart? First of all, let me explain to you guys why I was decoding this movie. Because I heard that there was solar flares coming. So I was like, well, I know there was a movie about solar flares. And we've had lots of solar flares in the last month. So that's why I started looking at this movie. And it was all by accident, guys. I had no idea that this was going to come to me, okay? So this is so important because this encodes the date, all right? 6/11/2025. Now, what if I told you from the actress, look at this, from the actress who plays the girl who receives the codes, the actress's birth, this is it's not the girl's birthday in the movie, it's the actress's birthday who plays the girl in the movie. From her birth, she was born on 1/1/1998. From her birth to the biggest disaster in the movie, besides the end of the world. So there's the biggest disaster in the movie, besides the end of the world, was a real disaster, and it was called the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. This disaster killed 227,000 people, guys. 227,000 people. Real life people, okay? This is not a fake end of the world. This is a real disaster, okay? But anyway, from the birth of this girl who receives this code in the movie to the biggest disaster that she receives, it's 6 years, 11 months, 25 days. What? Are you kidding me? Just like I showed you that Barack Obama is coded with the 6/11/2025 in between the first date and the end of the world. And now the girl who gets the dates, the actress, is also coded to the biggest date in the movie with the 6/11/25. Like, what is the guys? I've already shown, Garo and I have already shown lots of things connected to this date, and I don't know what's happening, but I'm just saying that this is crazy. All right, this is crazy. Maybe nothing happens tomorrow and we all look like idiots, right? I'm not afraid to look like an idiot. I'm just showing you what I find, guys. If nothing happens tomorrow, so be it, right? You guys can be mad at me or whatever you want, but I'm just saying I wasn't looking for this, okay? I wasn't trying to find June 11th connections when I started looking into this movie, and I just found them, okay? So now we need to go from the first disaster in the movie to the deadliest disaster in the movie. And an interesting number comes up. 16,461 days between the first disaster and the deadliest disaster. Okay? Remember, 227,898 people died in this tsunami earthquake. A lot of people, guys. But what's up with this number? 16461. That's a palindrome. Forwards and backwards, okay? 164 forward and backwards. So I started looking into this number, and I went to the Bible, and I found something very interesting in the Bible. Remember, this movie Knowing is connected to the Bible. They connect it to the Ezekiel's vision, okay? So 1,600 or 16,461 days from the first disaster to the biggest disaster. What's this number? How is this number in the Bible interesting? Let me show you. So if you go to the Bible, you can use Derek's Gematria his handy tool, his handy Bible tool, and you can search for the 16,461st verse in the Bible, okay? Remember, this is the amount of days between the first disaster and the big disaster in the movie, okay? Now, if you search this days, how many verses in the Bible is 16,461 verses? Well, it leads us to this verse. And what it says in the verse is not as important as the number of the verse, but let me just read what it says. Psalms 48:6 is the 16,461 verse of the Bible. And it says, fear took a hold upon them there, and pain as a woman in travail. Guys, this sounds like a tribulation. Now, what does tribulation equal? This verse sounds like a tribulation. Fear took hold upon them, and pain as a woman in travail. What happened 16,461 days after the first disaster? You had a huge disaster where people were in pain and travail. Look at the suffering of this event, okay? And then if we go to the Bible and we go 16,461 days into the verses into the Bible, we get this verse. And it reminds me of a tribulation. And in Gematria, tribulation equals 611. Okay? Now, what's important about this verse? So if you go to this verse, that's 16,461 verses in, look how many verses are remaining. Wait a second. Hold on. All right, so here's how this works. Do you guys see these numbers right here? Actually, I was wrong. I messed this up. Hold on a second. So we're gonna do a search again for this verse, okay? I'll show you guys how to use this tool. It's very useful, okay? 1,16461, okay? We're gonna search that. That's gonna give us two verses. So Proverbs 3:5 is the 1,461 verse of the Bible, okay? This just like these days right here. But look how many verses is left when you go 1,646 day verses into the Bible. Look at this. This is another palindrome. I can bet you this might be one of the only instances in the entire Bible where a verse if you go 1,646 days in, how many verses is remaining? 1,461. Raise your hand in the chats. Raise your hand in the chats if you guys understand what I'm showing you here. When you go a palindrome, what is this number, guys? It's a palindrome. It means forwards and backwards. Okay. And yeah, I see Shyla. Much love to you, Shyla. I'll make sure I get to you. I'm just trying to finish this, and then I'll get to the chat. But thank you guys for the hands. But look at this: 1,646 leaves 1,461 in the Bible. So this is the only. I think this is the only verse in the entire Bible that gives you this outcome. Okay, you're getting two palindrome numbers, and they're the same digits. That means if you add Let's just add it. If you add 16461 plus 14641, you get the entire verses of the entire Bible. Okay? So this number stands for a very important number in the Bible. I'm telling you. And this is the number that is between the first date in the movie, knowing, to the biggest disaster. This is the number. Okay? So think about that for a minute. From the dam collapse, the first disaster, to the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, 16461. Okay, here we go. But this is where it gets crazy, guys. Remember, I showed you that Obama from the first disaster to Obama 611, from Obama to the last disaster 2025. But what if you go 1641 from the first disaster to the deadliest disaster, and then you go from the deadliest disaster to 611-25, it's 7473. Guys, 7473 is a connection to this number. Look at this. In base 8 mathematics, the number 7473 is the same number, 16461. Are you guys understanding what I'm showing you here? In base 8, in base 10, the number 7473 in base 8 equals 16461. Is that just a coincidence? Is it just a coincidence that Obama has the 6/11/2025 encoded to him, and then the worst disaster in the movie is connected by a perfect number? And remember, the Bible encodes this number as well, the 16461. And this is how you solve, just so you guys are confused, how do you get base 8? It's simple. You just have to do what it shows here. I'm not going to explain it step for step, but you basically just divide each time by 8, and then you add the remainder, and you add them all up, and that's the number, okay? You can do it by hand, but I just wanted to, like, look at this. I have 164 of you in the chat. Guys, 164 people in the chat, and here I am talking about 164 forward and backwards. But again, what is the chance of that? 7473 in base 10 is 16461 in base 8. So that means from the first disaster to the worst disaster is 16461, and from the worst disaster to June 11th is essentially connected to the same number. Okay? So let's recap. Obama, perfectly coded with 6/11 to his birthday and 2025 to the last disaster, 6/11/25. The actress, from her birth to the worst disaster in the movie, 6/11/25. And then if you go from the first disaster to the worst, you get this number. And then if you go from the worst to 6/11/25, you get this number, which is the same number if you change it to base 8. Okay. So you put all that together, and you're like, okay, guys, I was not looking for June 11th. I was not. This movie just manifested it to me. Like, I did not look for this. I wanted to be done with June 11th. I had already talked about it enough. But this is by far maybe the most mind-blowing thing I've shown about June 11th. What do you guys think? Is this the most mind-blowing thing that I've shown? I've shown a lot of mind-blowing things about June 11th this year, but this one is probably the most mind-blowing, in my opinion. I mean, with this, and with this. So, I don't know. But what if I told you that if you go this same amount of days before June 11th this year, you actually land on another disaster? And what is that disaster? Guys, 16461 days before June 11th, 2025 was the eruption of Mount St. Helens. What? So there's this. There's your 16461 connecting perfectly to the worst disaster in the movie. But if you just simply go back 16461 days from 6/11, you land on Mount St. Helens' biggest eruption. Let's look into this eruption, guys. Mount St. Helens 1980 eruption. 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. In March 1980, a series of volcanic explosions and pyroclastic flows began at Mount St. Helens, Washington. On May 18th, at 8:32 a.m., the eruption, which had volcanic explosive index of 5, was the first to occur in the contiguous United States since the much smaller 1950 eruption. It has often been considered the most dangerous volcanic eruption in U.S. history. Guys, are you reading this? This eruption, 16461 days before June 11th tomorrow, was considered the worst eruption in modern U.S. history. The most disastrous volcanic eruption in U.S. history. So this is not just some small event. This is one of the biggest eruptions in U.S. history. This is not some little volcano eruption. This is the biggest. And it ties perfectly to the biggest disaster in the movie Knowing, which also points us to this number. It's just undeniable. So you got this, and then you got this. And again, if you go to the Bible and you type in the 16461 verse of the Bible, the amount of verses remaining are 14641, the same digits. This is a very unique number, guys. And what's interesting about these digits, guys, these are the digits in Trump's birthday. The digits in Trump's birthday are 614. So this is Trump's birthday forward and backwards. So this obviously connects to Trump, right? So there's your numbers. There's your numbers. And, that's my last slide, guys, actually. I mean, I know it wasn't the longest decode, but if you put all that together, what are we seeing here? Is this just like the Matrix playing with me and just giving me the dates I want to see? Maybe. Maybe this is just a coincidence. But I don't know. Anyway, let me go to the chat. Let me see what you guys think. Oh, Joseph, you got to go back and watch this one. I didn't know you were live, Joseph. I did not know you were live. But make sure you guys go check out Joseph's live. Joseph, you got to see this, man. I was going into this disaster codes in this movie Knowing. I already showed how it's connected to Obama. Let me just recover this. Let me do a recap for Joseph real fast, okay? So, Joseph, I already showed in part 1 how this is connected to Obama. But look at this. From the first disaster in the movie to Obama's birth, 6/11, right? From the Obama's birth to the end of the world in the movie, the 2025 prime number. 6/11/2025. So again, most people have already seen that and their minds have been blown, but that is mind-blowing, okay? On top of that, from the girl who gets the dates in the movie, the actress who plays her birth was 1/1/1998. If you go from her birth to the most deadly disaster in the movie, it's 6/11/25. So there's 2, right? Obama, the key point of this whole movie, he's coded to the date 6/11/25. The girl who gets the codes is coded to the worst disaster with the 6/11/25. Now, again, from the first disaster to the worst disaster, 16461 days. Again, if you go to the Bible, Joseph, and you go 1641 verses into the Bible, the amount of verses remaining is the same digits, 14641. You guys see this? This is the verse of the Bible. This is how many is remaining. So an important number, okay? So anyway, from the first disaster to the worst, 16461. And look at this. If you go 16461 days from the first to the worst, you land on the worst date, right? But if you go from the worst date, the worst disaster in the movie, to 6/11/25, it's 7473 days, Well, in base 10, 7473 is 16461. Do you guys see this? Like, look at that. So if you take all this, Barack Obama's perfect connection to the date, this girl, she has a perfect connection to the date. Then I take that same disaster, and that lines up perfectly with June 11th, okay? And then if you go to the worst volcanic explosion in U.S. history, what they call it, and you go back from June 11th, you land on the worst volcanic explosion in U.S. history, the same number. So again, guys, I was not looking for June 11th. I keep wanting to reiterate this. When I went to started working on this movie, I was not wanting to find anything connected to 6/11. But then this is what came to me. Okay? But yeah, that was just a recap so Joseph can see. This is some of the most crazy stuff I've seen. Like this movie seems to code tomorrow. Maybe I'm just crazy, but Chris Holdings in the chat. Much love to brother Chris. Could be some pang disaster tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I hope not, but it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Widow's Son, make sure you guys go subscribe to him. Widow's Son on YouTube. He says the 1226 tsunami was right off the coast of Indonesia, where Obama lived. Did he live in Indonesia? Did he? I didn't even know this. Hold on. Yes, Barack Obama lived in Indonesia. His mother, Stanley Ann Durham, remarried and moved to Indonesia. Oh. Huh. Well, how about that? Yeah, you might have mentioned that, man, but I probably forgot, but that's pretty crazy. Your uncle, he went to kindergarten with my uncle. That's crazy. So yeah, guys, that this disaster that I'm measuring to is perfectly connected to Barack Obama. And what disaster I'm talking about is this tsunami killed 227,889 people. So like this is the one we're talking about. It was right off the coast of Indonesia where Obama lived. So there you go. Joseph's going to leave a link. Yeah, you can drop your links, man. What do you guys think? I mean, for those of you who have seen all the connections, I had to get this out today, obviously, because June 11th is tomorrow. So, and if you guys see my videos from earlier, again, we've talked about this a lot. I'm not the only one, of course. But let me just hit you with one other thing I found out before the stream. Let me hit you with this. This is crazy too. So big shout out to Brother Dana. He's talking about 6/11. And look what he says. Do you guys remember when James Comey posted 8647 on the beach? And that was 8647 days after 9/11? Well, if you go from 9/11 to 6/11 tomorrow, it's 8674. Well, that's the anagram of the beach, the number that Comey posted on the beach, right? So June 11th aligns perfectly with that code he put on the beach. Well, look at what this guy found out. Big shout out to him and this one of his subscribers. Look what he said. A commenter on his main channel discovered that 8674 just so happens to be the highest number in the Strong's Concordance. Are you guys getting that? You guys understand what I'm saying when I say that? Are you kidding me? The number 8647 is the highest number in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance? And June 11th is 8674 days after 9/11, which is the inverse of the Comey numbers? So let's look at this. And this is true, guys. Let me just type it in to give you verification that this is true. Is 8674 the highest number in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance? I don't know why it says no, but it says no here, and then it says yes. So I don't know what's this AI is smoking. It says no, but this it says no, and then it says yes. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, 8674 is the highest number assigned to a Hebrew word in the Strong's Concordance. Like, what? Are you kidding me? The 8647 days after 9/11 points us to June 11th, and that's the highest number in the Strong's Concordance? And what does this highest number mean? It means the governor. What does this mean? So let me just take the word and let me just explain to you guys what it supposedly means. You notice how it has the word AI at the end of it? Let me close out some of these pages, guys. Hold on. So here is the 8674 word in the Hebrew Bible, right? What is it? What does it even mean? So it means tat and I. It just reminds me of AI, tat and I, AI. But anyway, Tatnai or Tatnu was a biblical character and was the Persian governor of the province of the west of the Euphrates. So how does this connect to what's going on right now? Well, Trump is currently having a fight with the westernmost governor of the United States, Gavin Newsom. And I'm sure tomorrow there's also going to be more going on with Gavin Newsom. So the last word in the Hebrew Bible is 8647. Tomorrow's 74 days after 9/11, and the word 8674 in the Hebrew is a Persian governor. And I just made a video earlier today how this Austrian thing was connected to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor. You guys remember that? And this Persian governor was the governor of the province west of the Euphrates River. I don't know much about this guy. I need to look more into it, but let's just say that this is pretty interesting. So if we decode the word, I don't know. Let me see what we find in the gematria. Oh, look at that. That word equals 666, guys. Interesting. How about that? The last word in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance sums to 666 in the English Standard. Well, it sums to 116. But I don't know. I just thought I'd add this in here because, and big shout out to Brother Dana because he was the one that brought this to my attention. And if any one of you guys can find out more about this Persian governor, and the only time this Persian governor is listed in the Strong's Concordance is in Ezra. You see, all his mentions are in the book of Ezra. So does anyone know more about the book of Ezra? I don't know enough about the book of Ezra, to be honest. So if anyone in the chat knows what the summary of the book of Ezra is, I would appreciate. Well, Ezra, I mean, it is interesting that Ezra equals Donald, right? Ezra equals Donald in two ciphers. So I'm not really sure how this would connect, but Chris says execution. Whoops. Execution equals 116. Yeah. I see what you're saying there. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, if anyone knows more about the book of Ezra and how we can make a connection to this 8647, 8640, or 4 days after 9/11 tomorrow. Tomorrow will also be 285 months after 9/11. The New World Trade Center is at 285. That's the address. It's 285. So there's also a perfect connection with that, okay? I mean, what are the chances that Comey posted the 8647 You guys remember this, right? I mean, he posted this 8647, and then June 11th, he did this on May 15th, and then June 11th is the inverse of this 8674, and that's where we get the last Hebrew Strong's Concordance word, 8674. Okay. And Widow's Son is reminding me that tomorrow is 285 months exactly after 9/11. And in Gematria, assassination attempt equals 285. Wait a minute. This assassination attempt equals 1007. You want to know why that's important? Look at this. 1007. Look. If you go from King Charles taking the throne on 9/8/2022 to June 11th, it's 1007 days. Huh. So you guys see what I'm doing there? 1007 days from King Charles, from the Queen's death to June 11th tomorrow. And that's the gematria of assassination attempt. And that's 285 months after 9/11, and assassination attempt equals 285. And tomorrow is 6/11. 6 times 11 is 66. That's interesting. And okay, so where is Trump going to be tomorrow? We might as well talk about this, okay? Where is Trump going to be tomorrow? Trump, Les Mis. And even if nothing happens to him tomorrow, this is clearly a ritual tied to his July 13th attempt last year. So look at this. Trump is attending Les Mis tomorrow. So think about this. This is in the JFK Theater, and it's a theater. How did Abraham Lincoln get taken out? In a theater. How did JFK get taken out? In a Lincoln car. So on 6/11, now remember, why is this so important? Because assassination equals 6/11. So even if he doesn't get taken out tomorrow, guys, this is clearly a nod to this word, okay? Because look at the gematria. So why is he in a theater tomorrow like Lincoln? And why is he at the JFK Theater? I mean, is this not perfect? Raise your hand in the chats if you guys think that's absolutely perfect. Trump is literally going to be in a theater called Kennedy. Like, that connects to both Kennedy and Lincoln. That's ridiculous. And the movie is called Les Miserables. Miserable. Something miserable might happen. President Trump and First Lady Melania, Vice President Vance, and Second Lady Usha Vance are planning to attend the opening night of Les Miserables, however you say that, at the JFK Center for Performing Arts on June 11th. The musical about characters navigating social injustice and revolution. Guys, there's a revolution trying to happen in California right now. You see how this ties in? And of course, it ties to France. We know how big France is. Trump is a fan at the campaign rallies. He makes his entrance to the anthem. Do you hear the people sing? Now look at how long this goes to. If you look it up, he's going to the first night of Les Mis on June 11th tomorrow. Like 6/11 is assassination, right? Well, how long does this show run? Let me find it. It's not going to tell me here, is it? Les Mis, Kennedy Center dates. Okay, here it is. Look at this. What is the chance of this? From 6/11 to July 13th. I mean, come on now. The absolute most obvious thing you could ever do. This will be the 1 year anniversary. So this show that Trump's going to attend on June 11th, the first day, is on 6/11, like assassination. Remember, his assassination attempt was at 6/11, and it was on 7/13. And this show runs from 6/11 to July 13th, the 1 year anniversary of his assassination. What? You guys, tomorrow is 333 days. Yes, after it. I've already talked about this. Tomorrow is 333 days after his attempt, and it's 33 days before the end of Les Mis. And it's 3 days before his birthday, right? And we're talking about World War III a lot, right? So this is just perfect, guys. Trump is literally attending the Kennedy Center, like Lincoln, the Kennedy connection. Like, what is going on here? So that's a good addition to this decode. I know this was all about the disaster codes, but I mean, that's a good addition because this whole disaster codes was talking about 6/11. Hopefully this will be the last time I have to talk about this date. But yeah, remember, yeah, it's been 160 years since Abe's. Yeah. And what's that? What's the 160, guys? So it's been 160 years since Abe Lincoln was, you know what? And look at the gematria, 160 and 6/11. So, I mean, he's going to be in a theater tomorrow like Lincoln on 6/11. And it's going to be 160 years after Lincoln was in theater getting taken out. And right now we kind of have like a Civil War theme going on, right? Because everyone in California is kind of like having a revolution. Les Mis is all about a revolution. So think about it. And don't you guys get it? Like everything's getting stirred up now in the United States just before June 11th. So there would not surprise me if there's some sort of like shenanigans. Like it just would not surprise me. And guys, if nothing happens on June 11th, there's a few dates that also look very crazy. You have June 13th. This would be Jason's birthday. Remember, Jason Voorhees is born literally one day before Trump, June 13, 1946. So I'll have a video coming out in a few days. If nothing happens on June 11th, June 13th is a Friday the 13th, and the next day is Trump's birthday. And remember, June 17th and June 16th are always also very interesting. June 17th is the war date, and June 16th, there's a huge earthquake connection. So again, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but the point is you got a Friday the 13th coming up, and this is Jason Voorhees' real birthday, guys. Big shout out to Dr. Savage who found this first. But yeah, absolutely crazy, guys. And the word Jason can mean July, August, September, October, November, right? Because that's the abbreviation of the next months: July, August, September, October, November. Jason. So I'm wondering if that might play a role. All right, I'm going to go to the comments again, guys. I'm sorry I'm ignoring you. It's Jim Irsay's birthday. That's right. We just had Jim Irsay die, and that was his birthday. Remember? Do you guys remember the news of the Colts owner, Jim Irsay? He just died, and his birthday is June 13th. So Friday the 13th this year. Friday the 13th equals 223. Yes, it does. The reverse Skull and Bones number. Somebody's saying Supertramp backward, upside down. I'm not sure what you mean. War 611. Then read the lyrics to Child of Vision. Okay, I'll look into that. Yeah, I haven't looked into the actual gematria of Les Miserables, or however you say that. I'm horrible at saying that word. Les Miserables. Oh, man, I'm so bad at that. Les Mis. I'm just going to call it Les Mis because I cannot say that word. Les Miserables. I'll just say that. Let's just look that up real fast. So the first variation, and look at this, guys. The first modern Les Mis was in 1980. I just showed you the volcano explosion in Washington in 1980. But this comes from the story of the same name that was written in 1862, guys. Well, who was president in 1862? Can somebody in the chat tell me who was president during the time of this release? Chat participation time. Who is the president during 1862? I'm sure you guys are going to easily get this. Just waiting for the answers here. Lincoln, yes, exactly. You guys are very smart. Thank you. Lincoln. And I just told you tomorrow, Trump's going to be in a theater like Lincoln watching Les Mis. And Les Mis originally was written when Lincoln was president during the Civil War. And this is, look, guys, this is from the June Rebellion. Do you guys understand? That is what this is all tied to right now. Why do you think he's going to see Les Mis when all the protesters are in California rebelling? And this is the 1832 uprising. Well, what else happened in 1832, guys? Skull and Bones, or Yale University. Yale University was founded, where Skull and Bones is at, Skull and Bones was founded in 1832. What am I thinking? Skull and Bones founded in 1832, guys. This Les Mis is based off of the June Rebellion in 1832. So do you see all the parallels here? The uprising in California. This Les Mis is connected to the Paris uprising. Let's see what June Rebellion equals. June Rebellion, 61. Well, first of all, let's take a look and see what Les Mis equals. Oh, well, okay. Les Miserables, that's how I'm going to say it. That equals 49. This equals Freemasonry. But it also equals what else? It equals Donald J. Trump, because in the same cipher, Donald J. Trump 49, Les Miserables 49. So, I mean, if anyone else sees anything with this, let me know. Let's see if you shorten it. Okay, well, Les Mis equals Christ. Huh. Interesting. Wow, perfect match, pretty much. Les Mis equals Christ in almost all ciphers. Wow. And that's the shortened version of the play. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, this is really interesting that Trump's going to be at a theater tomorrow. I mean, come on. I'll have to look more into this. Maybe I'll do a video on this. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Jeffrey Epstein says tomorrow another nothing burger. Maybe. We never know. But it doesn't, guys, I think everything that I've been decoding with the war and the Mars stuff has already played out. Think about it. We literally have like a protest in Los Angeles. And don't be surprised if Trump declares martial law or something. Why would it be crazy if he declares martial law? Because I've been talking about Mars. Martial law is a form of Mars, okay? So Trump turns 42 Martian years tomorrow. If Trump declares martial law, so yeah, look, the connection between martial law and Mars stems from the etymology of the word martial. Martial relating to war. So again, Trump's Martian birthday tomorrow, 42 Martian years. If he declares martial law tomorrow on June 11th, I'm going to poop myself. Because this would be all I've been talking about coming to fruition. The Mars stuff. Martial law on 6/11. Come on, if that happens, not saying it's going to happen, but if it does, that would be the culmination of all this stuff I've been talking about. Not saying that's going to happen, but it is interesting. And we certainly have a situation that could call for him doing that. Think about it. I didn't know the word martial equals Jesus and Lucifer. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Tomorrow is 8/6/7, 4 days after 9/11. You got the 74s there. Martial law. $160. Interesting. Today's the 160th day of the year. Martial law equals 11. Did I spell this right? Yeah, I spelled it right. I don't know what I'm saying here. Yeah, martial law. Yeah, I mean, martial law equals assassination. 160. Today's the 160th day of the year. Or no, yesterday was, not today. Today's the 161 day of the year. Anyways, that's interesting. I mean, that would be completely perfect if something like that happens tomorrow. Yes, he's saying martial law was declared during Hurricane Katrina. Yeah. Somebody says Obama's the top contender for AC. Very likely. Joseph would agree with you on that, and I would. I mean, again, guys, I'm not very opinionated on that, but because I just like looking into all the characters on the stage, and I think I've seen something for all of them. I mean, I could give you a reason why Elvis is, but I mean, but Trump obviously too. But again, Obama seems to be a very likely candidate, and what Joseph has shown over the years is pretty undeniable. Joseph is amazing at showing that. So, I mean, for me, and what is this whole decode I just did about? It was connected to Barack Obama, I mean, look at this. I mean, if something does end up happening tomorrow and it aligns up with Barack Obama in this movie perfectly, then you guys get it. You guys get what might be going down here. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's hard to say, but this movie seems to really put emphasis on Obama, the Knowing movie. Not Trump. This movie is not coded to Trump so much. But maybe that's because it came out in the year Obama was president. Yeah, and don't forget Barack Obama. And Barack means lightning, Obama from the heights. So Luke 10:18 connection, Most of you guys seem to like Obama, so I'm not gonna argue with that. Yeah, Travis, I just showed the 160s. It's been 160 years since Lincoln was taken out, and the word assassination equals 160. Let me just show you guys. If you go from Lincoln, and you go to June 11th, it's 160 years and 57 days. So, and then again, that's the gematria. And if you get the new Korean president, if you go from his assassination attempt to tomorrow, it's 1 year and 160 days. So I already showed that in my other videos. Thank you guys so much for hitting the like button. I got 114 likes. You guys are awesome. Didn't even have to ask you. You guys already smashed that like button, so I really appreciate it. And you guys are always leaving great info. So thank you all for the info. Make sure you guys go check out Joseph. He's going to put his link for his video at the end of the stream. Again, we can all have our opinions on who it is, guys, but we don't need to argue about it. We don't need to argue about that. That's not a salvation issue, is it? At the end of the day, it's good to know, but it's not something that's going to make or break. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, it's not going to be the end of your, you guys know what I mean. Yeah, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was murdered on July 28th. Was it July 28th? Yeah, let me look at Franz Ferdinand real fast here. No, not the band. Why does it say June 28th? Are you sure this says June? Now, how does this connect to the Austrian story today? Well, where was this guy from, guys? Austria. That's why this is so important that we had an Austrian event today, because it connects to this guy. And look at this guy, by the way. Like, this guy looks like I don't know what this guy looks like, but look at this photo, 1863. Wait, he was born in 1863? Wait, so that wasn't long after the Les Mis stuff. That was during Lincoln's presidency. So, I mean, at least we know that this seems to all connect back to those years. Yeah, so I really don't know about the Archduke stuff, but let me just see something here. What the heck? That's not who I wanted. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'll just get back to this, but the Archduke thing, I think that the point here is it all seems to connect to all these different, assassination attempts and assassinations. Ah, that's a good one, Sean. So he's saying that the Les Mis movie was released at the exact midway point of 9/11 and the 8/4 eclipse from 2024, 589 weeks on each point. Wow. Don't forget, Donald Trump equals 589. That's a huge number. So there's another interesting. That is interesting because again, Trump's going to be there tomorrow. Anyway, guys, I think I'm running out of things to say, but again, I appreciate all of you and thank you guys for watching me every day and listening to me blabber on. Hope it's not too unbearable listening to me sometimes. No, the world does not end tomorrow. I don't think that's what we're expecting. I mean, could we have an escalation with what's already happening? I mean, it's a perfect time for something to escalate from what's already happening in California. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of event tomorrow. Now, is it going to be the end of the world? No. So, yeah, but thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing and donating and all the stuff you guys do. And so this will be the last decode before June 11th. So tomorrow is the day, and don't hate me too much if nothing happens tomorrow, guys. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep decoding the stories that come to me. I just do the best with what I have, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day out there. Also, before I get off here, I almost forgot. Before I get off here, do not forget, guys. Tonight, for me, it's going to be early in the morning, but for you guys, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be on my weekly live stream with Rambo and AJ. So please go subscribe to Ball Don't Lie. Let's get him to 1,000 subs, guys. Please, 1,000 subs. I'm going to be on the stream at 10 p.m. tonight, your guys' time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So please don't forget, if you're going to be awake still, that is, to jump on over, and we're going to talk about the events of this week and all kinds of other things. So please come join us. And with that being said, I'll see you guys later. I'm pulling like triple duty today. So I'll see you guys later tonight, 10 p.m. your guys' time, Eastern time. And we're gonna have another fun one there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please hit the like button on your way out. And as always, God bless you, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.